Hello and welcome. Can they see the dog?
Yeah, perfectly. Her entire head.
In my last video, she was begging for, doing her little beg for attention thing the entire time.
This is a video about the Last of Us season finale.
This is actually a video about rat cage accessories you should avoid, since I did ones you should get last time. So one quick disclaimer about nothing on here, but I'm experimenting with bedding again, so if you can see this cage and you realize it's a hot mess, that's why. That's all. Alright, let's get started. So, first things first, I'm going to talk about those Snack Shack things, which is basically a bunch of sawdust glued together with honey. You shouldn't get those because it's a bunch of sawdust glued together by honey. So, if you get those, there's a good chance your pet's going to want to eat it, and it can cause blockages, and also the honey's really, really not good for them. So, you should avoid those. So anything that has a lot of string, you should also avoid, like towels, that kind of thing. Like, admittedly, I did use towels for a long time because it was the only absorbent thing I could put on these shelves until I got my new pans. But you should avoid them because the strings can come loose and wrap around your rat's little feetsies. You okay?
Yeah, I have allergies, sorry. I'll say when I also had the towels, every single time before I put them back in the cage, I would take scissors to them and cut I would cut all the holes so they couldn't get their heads caught.
Yeah.
And I would cut the strings. But maybe I love my pets more than the people viewing this, and maybe they wouldn't go above and beyond like I did.
So yeah, if you do have something with a lot of string, definitely cut it. Same honestly with hammocks, as I usually would take the hammocks out if there was a hole where they could get their head in, but not. Technically, if a rat gets their head into something, they should be able to get their body into it, but that's not always the case because rats sometimes panic. So I would either take hammocks out or I'd rip the hole a little bigger if they chewed it just enough that it was a danger. So keep that in mind. Next, let's talk about wheels. Now, obviously, if you can see this cage at all, you can see that I have a wheel. That's an appropriate wheel. So a lot of people will get tiny wheels for their rats, and the problem with that is, a rat's probably not going to use it if it's too small for them. You don't want their back to curve. So if it's a small wheel, their back will curve and their tail will go all the way around the inside, or they'll just like droop it outside. I've seen that too. And that's bad for their backs. And again, they probably won't use it. And the other thing is wired wheels. So you don't want to use wired wheels because their little feetsies, again, can get caught in it. I'm sure most of you have seen videos of a hamster or mouse or something along those lines getting their feet caught in it and going around and around and around. They can seriously damage themselves, even losing digits in the process. I think I've also heard of mice's tails getting caught in, because mice tails are very thin and small. I think I've heard of them getting caught inside like wheel mechanisms and, losing tails, losing body parts because of inappropriate wheels. If you do want to get them a wheel, so I've heard both 14 inches and 12 inches for female rats. I went with 16 inches because that's the bare minimum for male rats. So and it works well for me. Their backs are completely straight. I got mine from a place called Pandemonium Pets on Etsy. They are all metal wheels, I think stainless steel. And I've had them for a couple of years and my rats really enjoy them. They're also much quieter. The only sound the wheel doesn't make any sound, but their little feet on the wheel make sound, so it's like a little pitter patter that you can hear. My dog is currently begging for attention from my camera woman. I should just call you Cappy.
I'm your producer. I'm sick of this camera woman thing. I'm your executive producer.
I'm just going to start calling her Cappy. She's here enough.
If you lick my foot one more time, we're going to have a real problem. Stop, please. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you to stop licking my feet. Quentin Tarantino. Oh my God.
So next let's talk about certain pet snacks that pet stores will sell. Is there a cat?
No, right behind you.
Oh, hi, Risky. Nom, 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 nom. She's getting some kale. All the vitamins. I sometimes wonder if they're just like,
just trying to eat. Can you go away?
Just like, Why is my mom such a lame person?
There's a giant hairless rat looking and talking to me while I'm trying to enjoy my veggies. She'll pick me up and she'll hold me like I owe her money. She'll dangle me. She'll see if my feet tuck.
Hi, baby. Anyway, certain rat snacks. So you'll see a lot of pet stores sell snacks that you can hang in the cage. And it's like seeds or grains stuck to like a stick. Or sometimes it's in a ball. Again, these things have a ton of sugar and oftentimes are...
Do you effing mind? We're filming here.
Bound together by honey. So it's not healthy for them to eat that. And you just want to avoid that. I honestly avoid all store-bought pet treats for my rats. I just get baby stuff from the baby aisle, basically. Like baby food, Gerber Puffs. What are those Cheetos called?
Cheetos.
Little crawlers? Is that what it's called? Baby Cheetos.
They didn't have those
baby
when
cookies.
My siblings were little. So
Oh,
they had the puffs. They didn't have the melt because they melt in your mouth.
So the Cheetos.
The Cheetos, I don't think they had, but those puffs were a big part of my little sister's upbringing.
Yeah, Sam, someone I got 4 of my rats from, she had those puffs, and she also had a little nephew, and he would like come into her room, and she'd just be like, "Can I have some of those puffs?" She's like, "They're for the rats," and he's just like,
They're for the baby.
he was like 2, and he was just like, "Can I have some?" And she was just like, Anyway. Next, let's talk about rat balls. This is technically not a cage accessory, although it can be. So you'll find some hamster balls that are giant size and they're meant for larger rodents such as rats. But those hamster balls are not really appropriate for any animal because A, their little feet can get stuck into the slits and cause some real damage. And B, there's not enough ventilation, so all the ammonia and like if they poop and they walk in it, all that stuff just gets trapped inside and that's what they're breathing in. So it's also very stressful for them. They don't have great eyesight, so sticking them in a ball and letting them run around, it's not for them. They don't enjoy it. So definitely avoid that. If you do have one though, I've seen people hang it up in their cage as like a spare bed. Like they take both the doors off and they put like a piece of fleece down so that the rat can sleep on it, protect their little toes and stuff. And that seems to work fine. So I personally have never done that. I probably wouldn't just because it sounds like a nightmare to hang up, but you could. And finally, so I've only seen this at PetSmart. I don't know if other pet stores sell it, but sometimes they have a salt lick or a mineral block. You don't need that. The salt lick is just going to introduce so much sodium into their diet, and it's really not good for them. So I probably wouldn't do that. The same with the mineral block. Like if you have an appropriate... When did you get here?
She's been here.
Has she?
A few minutes.
Okay.
Could you lick your face?
Did she? Anyway, if you have an appropriate diet and appropriate supplements, you don't need a mineral block. And then again, the salt block, that's just sodium. They don't need that. So I don't do either of those things in the cage because it's not good for them. But yeah, that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. All the fun stuff down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!